WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something here from Glen Moray. Glen Moray, 10-year-old, 2010, distilled 2021, bottled, and it's a first fill Madeira Cask Finish. Cask number 180 here from Dràm Mòr, and there's 273 bottles here in total. 54% ABV, and it goes for a price over here in Germany around 74, 75 euros. All right, so now first of all, I would like to talk for a tiny little bit about Madeira wine. Madeira, of course, is an island off the coast of Portugal, as we hopefully all know. And they produce a special type of wine there, a fortified wine. We know fortified wines from sherry, we know fortified wines from port, and we also have Madeira. So what they do is they create the wine, and they stop the fermentation process by adding brandy. 96% neutral, not grain neutral spirit, but rather neutral spirit made from grapes. And they stop the fermentation, and that's neutral grape spirit, and they actually have a longer phase that we can keep this whiskey from keeping it from spoiling. Why did we need this? Way back when we used to actually send off barrels around the world from wine, and when it arrived someplace else, maybe in the East Indies, maybe in America, maybe back up in the UK, it had spent a few months in the hot heat of the summer in the belly of a ship, and it had actually turned sour. Don't want that. So what do? You actually add then this neutral grape spirits to it, and then you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful product. Yay! So basically, now the other thing that makes Madeira very, very special is that you can actually then create a certain bit of taste by having extreme heat added to this. So the younger and the cheaper Madeiras actually have a 3 to 6 months process where they take these, in Texas we would be using black painted containers and putting the barrels in them and letting it go up above 50 degrees Celsius, 110 basically Fahrenheit, all the way up to 65 degrees Celsius, 130, 140 degrees. And you actually you bake the whiskey. Not the whiskey, you bake the Madeira, that fortified wine, and it actually remains, you can keep it then in barrels after that for decades, and some people actually say centuries. And if you've actually had it in the barrel for too long, you take it out and put it in a glass demijohn and keep it for an indefinite period. So we're talking about literally centuries that can be used here for these. All right, what am I going to compare it to? I'm going to compare it to ding, ding, ding. Something that I have here that I really, really like. This is a Glen Moray. This is 2014, 2021. So not as old, but it is actually also from a first fill Madeira wood cask from Wilson & Morgan. It is 46%, Whiskybase 181557. And this whiskey here is running about 55 euros at the moment, so 20 euros cheaper. This is 54%, this is 46%. Remember that when talking about the price. At least that's my personal opinion. All right, very, very good. Now, if I go over to the website here from our nice little independent bottler called DramMorGroup.com, I can actually go and I can see the whiskeys, and it tells me here they have the inaugural release back then in 2019, 2020. Then there was autumn 2020, Christmas 2020, spring 21, autumn 21. So this was that is the spring 2022 just hit the markets over here in Germany, and they even have their first bottles online already for the winter 2022 release. So this is a fairly new independent bottler. I like the stuff from Dràm Mòr. They have some good connections. They have some good stuff going on in there. So this was a refill bourbon's hogshead, and they finished it in this first fill Madeira cask. Now the nose, the color should be blush pink. I don't know if this is blush pink or not. All right, just to compare the two real quick, you do see that the Glen Moray is much darker here. All right, so that's the way things are at the moment there. All right, so on the nose, we should have, and I'm going to contradict many things that they write here, subtle and delicately warm fruitcake with hints of rich spice, candied nuts, and a touch of lemony citrus. I basically get none of that. All right, so on the nose, the first thing I get is something called passion fruit. I get the passion fruit here. Now, for me, it's a very fruity, but a little bit of a sour moment. And I don't know if you've had a passion fruit, but exactly that has a nice, I like passion fruits. It's not tropical, but it is passion fruit. All right, they call it maybe a warm, wet fruit cake. They call it maybe rich spices, candied nuts, and their lemony citrus. Now, to be very honest, I'm not the fan of the nose here. The nose is okay, but it's not wow. It's a C minus. If I were to go for the nose, the Glen Moray is much more intense, richer, more of a jelly type of moment. I like the Glen Moray much better on the nose. Personal opinion. I have another theory at the moment. I think the Madeira casks that are making their way over to Ireland and Scotland predominantly are seasoned casks. I don't think that they've actually are going to sell the Madeira wine and use those casks that have been used for a couple times. I think they're actually creating casks for the whiskey industry. There's a somewhat predominant demand for Madeira casks. So hey, why not just supply those casks to the industry by making seasoned casks, just like the same thing we're doing with Ruby Port, with our sherry, and a lot of the other things out there. I don't understand why not more and more whiskey makers are going to the wine cask industry. The wines cask industry have a lot of wines out there. Maybe the main reason is what I hate, sulfur. So they tend to sulfur the casks. Here, no sulfur whatsoever. Both of these, none. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, 54%, 46%. So I'm going to add a little bit of water in a second, but cheers. Mm-hmm. 10 years of age, a little bit on the hot side. I still get that nice, for me, passion fruit. For me, that Madeira moment. I'm not really sure I'm getting the distillery character here. I'm getting a lot of the finishing character. Now, if I turn to my smart book here, the Whiskey Yearbook, so we have here the nice little information. I was actually at the distillery, Glen Moray Distillery, in March 2019, the last time I was over in Scotland. And back then there was actually a wall that said, on the entire history of our distillery since 1897, we've only had 7 master distillers. And back then Graham Cole was still one of the master distillers. He left, went over to Dingle. And then we had this beautiful, beautiful announcement. Hey, a woman took over his job. Kirsty McCallum, she was going to be the good new person. She had worked with Distill primarily, Dr. Kirsty McCallum, if I remember correctly. And she was there for a few months. And then she disappeared. She actually went over then to the Halewood Artisanal Spirits. And she became responsible for the blended whiskey, the Scotch, Krabbie, the Irish, the Pogue, and the Aberfalls from Wales. So they Glen Moray needed to find someone. It is a French-owned distillery, La Martinaise, if I said it right. And so they found someone who actually worked for Distill as well, and his name is Stefan Woodcock. He had spent the last 5 years at the distilleries Bunnahabhain, Tobermory, and also then Deanston. And now he's responsible also for the main blends of La Martinique, Label 5, Sir Edwards, and the Cuddy Sark. So When I was there, I was very interesting. Glen Moray is equipped with a 10.1 ton full lauter mash tun. Very, very good. There are 14 stainless steel washbacks there with a fermentation time of 60 hours. In the summer of 2021, they added 2 more stainless steel wash tons. Why? To increase fermentation time. 60 hours might have been a little bit tight, might have been a little bit close. They have 9 stills. They have their 6 spirit stills, which is basically the old still house. And they built 3 new wash stills, big, massive things there. And they use a so-called flash distillation where they actually pump that stuff in there. It's so hot that immediately distills. I'm waiting for someone online to actually write a good article, show a good video, make good illustrations about what's going on there. Very, very, very nice stuff. They're producing about 5 million liters of alcohol a year. They're almost running 24/7 there, which is a lot. All right, so very, very good. Now, going over here to my Glen Moray. I like this so much more. 20 euros less if you can find the Wilson and Morgan first fill Madeira wood from Glen Moray 2014 to 2021. Do it oilier. Much more fruitiness, more raisins. This has a little bit of that sourness of the passion fruit. I like this. This goes great with well-aged Gouda, is how we say that over here, Gouda. Maybe even cheddar and cheese and so on. Very, very nice. So I'm going to add a tiny little bit of water to this. Take it down to about the 46% that we had in this. It does have a little bit of that sourness of the lactic acid here. Just a brief little bit. And a tiny, 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 at least I'm getting in this with water, a little bit of that tiny little bit of sulfur, which I have none whatsoever there. With a little bit of water, it gets oilier. They call it red currant. They call it juicy fig. They call it licorice, which I don't get at all. They call it chocolate, buttery, and delicious. So they even say, and I like this last statement here, the finish. This delight is all about the finish. It is ever so long and dry with a deep, powerful, spicy bitterness that draws in the cheeks and focus your attention on the bitter chocolate, tobacco, and gentian root playing havoc with your senses. Very grown up and really very satisfying. I do like this. This is a solid C. On a good day, I might even give it a C+. With water, more towards the C+, C, very nice. Now, I'm not willing to pay 75 euros for this again. This is for me a 45 to 50 euro bottle. 10 years of age, yes, it is 45%, it's 54%. I, over here in Germany, would normally be paying around 55, 60 euros for this, not 75. Now, I know I have not really 100 embraced the new pricing of whiskey, sorry. But hey, that's that. So maybe they have already adjusted their prices accordingly. This bottle is still available in Germany. It's been in the market now, even though it is a single cask, 273 bottles. It is available in a couple different shops. So I don't know if you'll be able to find it outside of Germany. You might be able to find the UK or so on. But it is very, very interesting. So first of all, my first question of the day is, what is your favorite Glen Moray product? Second of all, what is your favorite Madeira maturation or finished whiskey? So thank you very much for watching. I'm giving this a C, and a good day a C+. Value for money, more of a D+. Sorry, it's a D+. A little bit too expensive. Would have been around the 50 euro range. It would have been a solid C. And that's something you can actually find out, search, look, and enjoy. This one, actually a little bit more personal opinion. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, telling others, and sharing this video. See you soon. If you ever need to contact me, WhiskyJason@gmail.com. Bye-bye.